Welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about how 2025 is going to be completely different for you. I'm calling this your 2025 roadmap. One of the hardest things to get over is the feeling of disappointing yourself. Oh, 2023, I said I was going to have a better year, and then 2024, I disappointed myself. When you set a goal, or you think you're going to do something, or you promise yourself this dramatic transformation and it doesn't come to pass, you weren't able to take the steps, you didn't have the knowledge, you didn't understand things as clearly as you do now, maybe you didn't make a plan, maybe something out of your control actually affected your ability to execute. Nothing worse in my book than disappointing myself. I've got you. I've been there. Let's do this. So here's what we're going to do to make 2025 different. First of all, you need to believe that this year is going to be different. And then you need to be able to back that up with proof and with reasons as to why this year is going to be different from other years in your life that you have lived. If you are in this place where you actually want to create momentum in your life and make real, permanent, lasting changes, you are not going to be able to sell yourself the idea that you're making changes if your mind doesn't change, if your actions don't change, if your feelings don't change, if your behavior and your choices don't change. Nothing will add up, and you're just going to keep telling yourself, I'm a liar, I'm a liar, I'm a liar. 2025 is going to be different because this year you're going to make a 12-week plan. March of 2024, I discovered the 12-week year, and it was really helpful because I had procrastinated on making my resolutions for the year. There felt like there were so many things I wanted to accomplish, and I couldn't narrow it down to just 2 or 3 things. I came across the 12-week year somehow, and I actually implemented it and put it into place. I allowed it to be very simple for me, but what I did was, instead of trying to plan out the whole year of 2024, I planned the next 12 weeks. If you guys have been subscribed to my email list, Get the Blueprint, you will know that I lost 30 pounds. I released 30 pounds of fat by using my 12-week plan. I had tools and strategies that I put in place within a 12-week period, and each week I was able to actually track my progress and see how I was coming along. That's why I like 12-week years so much, because a year is just too much time. A year is just too vague. If you tell yourself I have a year to write a book, every day it feels okay to let it go. Every day it feels okay to procrastinate. But when you tell yourself that in 12 weeks you're going to have 5 chapters written, then you probably should get to writing today. So it's really important to have a 12-week year instead of trying to cram, really overwhelming yourself. There's too much space and there's not enough space, if that makes sense. It's all vague. It's all on some big horizon. 12 weeks is practical. It's short. You can lock in. You can let go of distractions. When you are distracted, you can come back to 12 weeks. And that's why 2025 is going to be different for you. Instead of procrastinating and saying, 2025 is my year. I'm about to get this body. Watch, this summer is coming. You're going to take the 12 weeks to focus on your health and nutrition, and you will see physique changes within the next 12 weeks right now. How many times have you told yourself you were going to make a change in January, and by March you're still the same person? How many times did you start the year saying last summer I wasn't looking right, and you still have the same summer body in June, July of the next year? How many times have you told yourself that, hey, I'm gonna travel, book the flight, but you didn't take the time to save $5 a day until you could actually book the flight? One day means never. If you keep putting stuff off to one day, you really mean that you're not going to do that shit. So instead of saying one day, take a small action step now. Do something today to keep you connected with that bigger dream and vision. Take an action step now. Make some progress, some kind of movement. And then once you get movement, make the next movement. That's all you can really do. Trying to say that, one day I'm gonna start traveling. Watch, one day I'm gonna get abs. Well, you might not be able to get abs in 12 weeks. You might not be able to lose 50 pounds in 12 weeks. You might not be able to make $2 million in 12 weeks. But if you make progress, your progress is going to stack and incrementally over time. In a year, you're looking at yourself proud of how far you've come, instead of looking back with disappointment like, I said I was going to start that workout. I said I was going to start, a new business. I said I was going to start reading books. I said I was going to start doing that. So let's eliminate all of that noise. Let's eliminate all of that chaos right now. And let's lock you into a 12-week plan. You will pick no more than 4 objectives to accomplish. You will choose one lead item that you do every day that contributes towards your goal. Say that you want to go on a trip. Instead of making your goal to book a trip in 12 weeks, you are going to break that down to a small doable thing. And you are going to say every day for 12 weeks, I am going to save $1 towards this travel fund. That's how you're going to break it down. Instead of saying, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, you're going to say every day, I'm going to walk 2 miles and eat 100 grams of protein and track my weight and try to lose just 1 pound a week. Break your bigger goal down into a smaller objective and then find one activity that you can do every single day. Every single day. Okay, and track it, because that's what's going to let you know that you're making progress. Now, me personally, I don't like doing something 5 days a week. I don't like doing something 3 days a week because time in my brain is completely different to other people. So I like to do things daily. If you can do something 3 days a week, do it. Put it on a calendar and track it, okay? 3 days a week, every week. For 12 weeks, I went on a run with my friend. 3 days a week, every week. For 12 weeks, I saved $1 towards my travel fund. And the point is, you have to do things that are so tiny and so manageable that you're looking at yourself sideways if you don't get it done. It has to be small so that you are building the self-governance muscle, so that you are building the consistency muscle. If you tell yourself that you're going to sprint every day for 12 weeks, blah, 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 you're not going to do it. If I tell myself that every day for the next 30 days, I'm going to be on the Stairmaster and do my weights and do my abs, no, I might not make it, but I know that there's one part of my workout that I can do every single day without missing. That's what I'm going to commit to. That helps you get progress. It helps you get your brain moving in that direction. And it does something very beautiful. It starts to create a positive obsession. I think we live in an obsessed culture. I think we're obsessed with so many. The best thing you can do for yourself is to create healthy obsessions that actually benefit you. These companies are teaching you to become obsessed with things so that they can make money off of you, but you don't want to make yourself obsessed with something that can benefit you. If you don't create things that your mind can get around and your mind can be stimulated by, the world is going to give it to you. Dopamine is so cheap these days. If I tell myself, you know what, I'm going to get obsessed with walking and tracking my steps, at the end of a year, my blood sugar is down, my weight's down, I've gained lean muscle, I've gained clarity, I wrote a book, I'm moving my life forward because I had the audacity to create a positive obsession for myself. So you're going to take a 12-week period, you're going to take less than 4 goals, and for each of those goals, or maybe even less, so we're just going to go like this, okay? For each of those few goals, you're going to create one KPI. Y'all that are in corporate know what a KPI is, a key performance indicator. A KPI is, how did you do your part today? Okay? Something simple that you can measure and track and say, am I on track or not? Did I take my walk or not? Did I do this or not? Did I do that or not? That's simple. It's black and white. A KPI is something that you either meet or you didn't meet. The most important part of it is that your KPI directly links towards your goals. If your goal is to release weight and you're saying, okay, I'm going to do 12 weeks of not going to McDonald's, well, you might go to the shrimp stop. And now you're not really benefiting from making that your KPI. Make it an activity, make it a choice, make it an action that is cumulative and that can add up in a positive way. Okay? The next reason that 2025 is going to be different, and I really think this is the most important one, is that you are going to have the courage this year to believe and reimagine a new future despite the losses that you have taken in the past. This year, you are going to tap into your inner well of courage. You're going to tap into your resilience. You're going to tap into your determination. You're going to tap into willpower if you have it. And if you don't have any of those things, you're going to tap into blind faith. You're going to tap into delusion. And if you don't have any of those things, you're just going to make a decision. And you're going to decide that you have just enough faith and just enough belief in yourself to get yourself to the first tiny next step that looks like the future that you want. This is something I do with myself every single day on the Stairmaster. I don't try to think about completing a whole hour of the Stairmaster before I get on the Stairmaster. Because if I thought about that, I would never get on a Stairmaster. All I have is the confidence that if there is a Stairmaster in my vicinity, I will get on it every day. And once I get on that Stairmaster, then I allow myself to think that I will press that on button. And after I've pressed that on button, then I will allow myself to think I will click my level on. And once my level is on, I will not stop until I have completed my time on that machine. All I can count on is that I'm going to take the next step on my Stairmaster, and that's it. It's the same with bigger life things. That little Stairmaster is nothing compared to the goals and dreams that you are here to bring and manifest into this life. Like, you have a destiny in life that is so much bigger than you. Everybody has a piece of the puzzle that if you do your part, it makes the group better. It makes the whole better. Sometimes when you're showing up for this life that you know you're meant to live, what you have to do is have just enough faith to take the next step. Just enough faith to open the book and start to write your poetry. Just enough faith to put the pen to paper and see what comes out today. Just enough faith to write the first sentence, or to keep writing words for 30 minutes every day until something sounds good. Sometimes you have to really babysit yourself, especially if you're coming out of a past where you have been very disappointed by yourself, you've lost trust in yourself, you doubt yourself, you want to achieve bigger goals, you want to have a completely different year in 2025, but you're looking at your past track record like, look at how I handled myself. Look at how I failed myself. Listen, if you want to rehabilitate your self-trust, if you want to banish self-doubt, you are going to have to babysit yourself into the next step. You might not be able to do it all today, but one thing I can guarantee you, one thing we can both agree on and lock in on right now, is that you have enough courage and you have enough, just enough self-belief to take the next tiny step. And once you take that next tiny step, you will then allow yourself to add the next tiny step. Let's say that you want to write an opera. You are not going to think about writing an opera and competing with every single opera that's out there in the world right now, because that will spiral you out. Instead of doing that, you are going to give yourself the permission to write one song today. Screw the whole song if that feels intimidating. You are going to give yourself permission to write one line of music today. And you will pick up your pen tomorrow and write another line. And you'll pick up your pen the next day and write another line. And before you know it, the momentum will come, the excitement will come, the joy will come, the passion will come, the obsession will come, and you will connect to that art part inside of you that must express itself. You will connect to that part of you that wants to create a broader, grander, bigger vision, and it will take over. But you have to give your genius space. You have to serve your genius by showing up. You have to serve your calling by showing up. You have to serve your destiny, your future, and your design by showing up, no matter how small it looks. The next reason that 2025 is going to be different is because you are going to return to what you know for sure. Things that we're sure of when we're not sure of anything else. Everyone's is different, but there's something you know when you don't know anything at all. Sometimes when you're completely lost, it might be that you love your family. It might be that you know you're destined to do great things. It might be that you know you have a very special purpose in your life. It might be that you know that even if you don't believe you're special, even if you don't believe you have a good calling, even if you don't believe that you have a grand destiny, even if you don't believe you can do something, you simply know that you're willing. You simply know that you're ready and willing to show up, to do your part, to make the world a better place, to make your life a better life to live in. Sometimes there are truths that we know that are so foundational to us that even if everything else goes away, we know these things to be true. In 2025, you are going to stay present with your deeper truths. In 2025, you are going to stay connected to what you know for sure. You're going to return to your convictions. In moments where you have doubt, go to the thing that you're sure about. You might not be sure that you can execute. You might not be sure that you can carry it all the way. You might not be sure that you can get it all the way done. But you can believe that you'll show up in that moment. Just like I said before, when I get on the Stairmaster for my hour, I can't even think about can I do an hour, because I'm not even going to put myself in that place of self-doubt. That self-doubt would stand between me and my Stairmaster. All I know is that if I stand on that Stairmaster, I will click the button and turn it on. And once I click my button and turn it on, I will click my levels. And once I put my levels, I will not change my levels until my time is completed. That is all I know for sure. After that, the rest is up to God. I want you to start going back to what you know for sure. And one of the things that I think is so important to deeply know within yourself is that you are worthy and you are good enough because you are. This is a foundational truth that I am ingraining within my soul, within my subconscious, within my mind, and I would love to share it with you and support you as you ingrain it within your mind too. I am good enough because I am. I'm worthy because I am. I'm deserving because I am. I am a good person at my core and I deserve the best of life. Without this belief, it's challenging to make change. I wrote about this in my book, The Hot Girl's Guide to Winning at Life, and I talked about how when you don't have your self-worth inside of you, you're constantly looking for it outside of you, you are going to run into problems all the time. Your self-worth is your buying power. If you believe that you're worthy and that you're good enough, then it's easier to make changes, because when someone is worthy and deserving, we move mountains for them. We'll do anything for them, right? I'm a huge Beyonce fan. And, you know, if Beyonce is going on tour, I don't care what I have to swipe. I don't care what I have to tap to pay. I don't care who I am going to be at that tour. I'm going to move mountains because I know it's worth it. If you perceived yourself in that same way and you knew you were deeply worthy, if you perceived yourself in that same way and you knew you were deeply deserving and deeply lovable and you deserve all the good things in life, you might have a little bit more emotion than what you have now. Maybe there's a part of yourself that is questioning whether you deserve what you want, whether you are worthy of having a good life. And I want you to clear that up by making that a constant thought that you keep coming back to. I'm good enough, I'm worthy, and I'm deserving. I deserve to have a life where I feel good in my body. I deserve to have a life where my career is successful and it uses my gifts and talents and I'm able to express myself in an elevated way. I deserve to have a life where I have a beautiful community and a beautiful family and great friendships. I deserve to have a life where fill in the blank. I am worthy of a life where fill in the blank. Once you believe that you're worthy and that you're deserving and that you are good enough and that it is your right to have something, you're going to go after it completely differently. And in 2025, I want you to come back to the fact that you are so deeply deserving and so deeply worthy over and over and over again until it sticks up here, until it sticks. Keep saying it until you feel it. Keep reminding yourself that even when you don't feel it. Keep taking action on it and reminding yourself until it becomes something you emotionally respond to and you know as a fact. 2025, this year is going to be different because you're going to begin with the end in mind. Yes, you're going to make your 12-week plan, but you are also going to look at how do I want to feel in December of 2025. You are going to think to yourself, in December of 2025, do I want to tell myself that I skipped my gym workout because I decided to go drink alcohol instead? Do I want to tell myself that I slacked on my goals and dreams and that nothing came to pass because I refused to take my first steps, because I wanted to sit and scroll on TikTok? Into the Fendi Faith of 2025, of December 31st, 2025, does she want to look back at January's 2025 Faith and go, oh, well, that girl was scrolling, so now I'm not achieving what I wanted to achieve? No, the December 31st, 2025 Faith has to be proud of me, and I am going to perform for her. So begin with the end in mind. I want you to look to your future and think about how you're going to feel when you know that, wow, a year went by and I stayed with my workout routine. Wow, a year went by and I created a new business. Wow, a year went by and the consistency paid off. Wow, a year went by and look at what I did. There's so many things in this life that I want to achieve, but look at what I have achieved so far. Honestly, as a very driven person myself, I feel like there will never be a limit on my creativity and my drive. And if you are creative and a driven person, you probably feel the same way. It doesn't matter what you achieve, you are always going to want to achieve more. But there is nothing better than knowing that you showed up for yourself, that you showed up for your purpose, and that you showed up for your calling by creating what you were inspired to create. 2025 is going to be different because you are going to gather evidence of how capable you are. I talk about the Stairmaster and my walks and my workouts a lot because that's one of the places I go to build my trust and my relationship with myself. When I'm getting on that Stairmaster and I don't feel like it, I'm there to prove a point to myself, to create that mental toughness within myself that says I can do hard things. I want the sweat, I want the heat, I want that hot burning feeling in my body that says, yes, I overcame every bodily function that told me F off this Stairmaster as soon as possible. I want that feeling of I was 100% sure I couldn't do this, and yes, I just did it. I have to have that feeling. So I'm gathering that evidence with my workouts. I'm gathering that evidence by pushing myself on a walk. In 2025, you are going to gather evidence that you are capable. You are going to try new things just to show yourself that you can try new things, just to flex that muscle just a little bit. You don't have to really flex the muscle. You just have to keep taking small, consistent reps that show you that, guess what? I can step out of my comfort zone. I can and will try new things. I can and will try something, not be the best at it, and come back and do a little bit better the next day. That's all you need. You need tiny incremental changes in how you view yourself in 2025. And that's what's going to make this year completely different for you. When I was writing my book, there were times where I was like, the book writing itself wasn't hard, but getting myself to come back to my writer's chair was challenging sometimes. There were times where I did not want to be seated for an hour. There were times where I did not want to, there's different things that you just don't feel like doing at a certain point. And your mind starts telling you that you should be doing this or you could be doing that or whatever. But at the end of the day, there's nothing more gratifying than looking back on a piece of work that you did because you just kept building your I can do it muscle. And that one thing will make 2025 completely different for you. Last year, I had some amazing moments. I published my book. I was a guest on the Fleekazoid podcast, which was one of the best moments of my year. Fleeksy is one of the most passionate, inspired creators I've had the privilege of being around, and she inspired me creatively. The book was featured in Brown Style magazine. I grew a community of 25,000 women on TikTok. And these women feel like family to me in the sense that we connect over such beautiful, amazing topics and ideas. And I did all of these things by showing up a little bit at a time. And I look back on 2024 and I think, wow, I gave myself permission to keep showing up. I gave myself permission to post when I didn't like my hair. I gave myself permission to post when I had such a horrible makeup look. Guys, I got dragged online for it. But I gave myself permission to keep posting the content. I gave myself permission to get over my own ick. I gave myself permission to just keep showing up. And I have been so handsomely rewarded by having new friends, new community, access to amazing, beautiful souls that I never would have had access to if I hadn't kept going. I've created a work of art that honors my mother that is deeply personal, deeply spiritual, and special to me and is life-defining to me. I did so many things last year that I couldn't have achieved if I wasn't giving myself permission every day to flex my I can muscle. And this is why I want to encourage you to prioritize flexing that muscle in 2025. This year is going to be different from you because you're going to gather evidence of how capable you are. Seeing that I'm capable of writing my own book, of guesting on a podcast that wasn't a closed live, with my own community, just stepping out of my comfort zone, talking about new topics, having my book featured in a magazine. These are moments that I wouldn't have thought I could step into. Once you allow yourself the permission to take those steps, you are going to gather evidence of how capable you are. And once you gather that evidence, I want you to take it with you and use it to move you forward. 2025 is going to be different because you're going to decide that you've suffered enough. Listen, life doesn't decide that you've suffered enough. There are people suffering today that will suffer for the rest of their life in some way, shape, or form or another. And some human suffering is voluntary and some human suffering is not. After the experiences that I have walked through in my life, I realized that making the choice to experience voluntary suffering in my experience is not acceptable. And this is a very niche message. This is not for everyone. There are some people who are experiencing what they perceive to be involuntary suffering. There are some people who are experiencing real suffering and there is nothing they can do about it. If your problem is solvable, give yourself permission to solve it. If your problem is avoidable, give yourself permission to avoid it. If you can access solutions and ideas and execute on them, give yourself permission to access solutions and ideas and execute on them. Give yourself permission to leave your suffering identity behind. I feel, as a person who went through a lot in my childhood, that sometimes you kind of go through things in life and then you kind of put your PTSD badge on and you're always that person. They say that when a person is traumatized, they kind of get stuck at the age they were traumatized at. I think they say that about famous people. And, even for traumatized people, that people kind of regress back to that age, right? And you're kind of living with that identity. You're kind of carrying that identity around with you. You're kind of bringing that traumatized version of you everywhere. And if you've ever heard of like internal family systems, I really like the idea of taking care of the parts of me that feel traumatized without letting them drive, without letting them have complete control over my actions and my choices. There is a part of me that was very traumatized by poverty and by familial instability. And if I let that part of me drive my life, I will wreck my relationships, I will sabotage myself, and I will create problems whenever there is not a problem, because chaos feels better and more familiar than stability, right? What I do instead, and what I am continuing to do the practice of, is to take that child that grew up in an unstable environment and take that child that was traumatized by instability and comfort her and parent her while taking my steps forward towards the life that I desire and want. The girl in me that was traumatized and all of these problems is the same girl that I take to the restaurant and buy dinner for. Same girl in me that was constantly bullied and, could never just have a peaceful day to herself is the same girl that I affirm and validate every day. She's the same girl that I protect. So what I want you to do is look at that version of yourself that you feel is holding you back or that you feel is running the show. That wounded version of you, that powerless version of you, that helpless version of you. I want you to take that version of yourself by the hand. Like literally picture yourself holding that child's hand and walking them into your present moment. And you take care of that child while you move your life forward. There is no reason for us to get stuck in past patterns if we have the self-awareness, the information, and the willingness to heal ourselves. Not everybody can afford therapy, and if you can, I highly support you and recommend that journey. Not everybody can afford to do EMDR and tapping and every other thing that helps people undo their trauma. Sometimes the best you can do is to hold that inner child inside of you and keep on moving forward. 2025 is going to be different if you do this, because we're no longer letting those injured, wounded, bruised part of ourselves run the show. They can be in the car, but the part of us who knows how to move our life forward is going to be in the driver's seat. The part of us who has matured and who can look back and see that that child was affected by situations outside of their control, that parent version of you, that grown version of you is going to comfort and soothe that child, but it's also going to bring that child with you into the future. It's also going to bring that child with you into your next level of life. You're not going to allow that trauma to become your identity in this present moment. You are the person leading yourself out of trauma. You are the person leading yourself out of your own pain. You are your own healer. You are your own healer and helper. And that doesn't mean you don't get the right support or help, because you do. It means that you're willing to take the steps to protect yourself. You're willing to take the steps to care for yourself. You're willing to take the steps to nurture yourself. Maybe you had the mom who didn't take those steps for you, who saw that something was happening. She didn't defend you. She didn't stand up for you. You have the opportunity to be that person to yourself now. And that's what you're going to do in 2025. And that's why this year is going to be different. So you're going to decide that you have suffered enough, and you're going to put your suffering identity in the past, or you are going to bring that traumatized version with you and heal it and parent it. But you are not going to allow your past suffering, your past mistakes, your past problems to create stagnations in your present life. We are so not doing that in 2025. Take tiny steps and you're going to celebrate them. The celebration part is so important. As I said in my last video, I'm the type of person who wants to just work until it's done. I was once a cocktail waitress in the strip club, if you guys don't know. And even then, like when we would close, there was never a moment where I would turn off until I was home counting my money. And sometimes I'd come home, count my money, wash my laundry, clean my room. Like, I'm a person who goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And what I find is negative with that is that you forget to celebrate how far you've come. You forget to, and it actually has a negative impact on your resilience, I think. I think that when you celebrate, I think that when you look at yourself and go, wow, I really did do that. Oh my God, I didn't think I could do that, but I did. I think it gives you a foundation to build upon for your next great achievement, for the next moment where you need to be resilient again, for the next moment where you need to have courage again, for the next moment where you need to take your forward steps again. And so what I encourage you to do is to continue to make your steps forward, but to celebrate. Wow, I was on the Stairmaster for 5 minutes. I've never been on that machine for 5 minutes. Now, if you can't do a long duration of something, you could be dealing with your career. If you can't work 8 hours a day towards your goals, work 1 hour a day every day for 30 days. Everything you do, take the step and also celebrate it. That's what's gonna make a difference for you in 2025. I love the saying that steps make a staircase. Every tiny step makes a staircase. If you think about your goals as a wall, trying to run up and jump a wall is an extremely hard feat for a person to do. And I think whenever we think about our goals and whenever we think about achieving and when you think about having these amazing life transformations, you want to be like, oh, well, one day I'm going to be this. It's like this fantasy, right? One day I'm going to be this Olympic jumper and I'm just going to jump over the wall that is my goals. Instead of doing that kind of thinking, because we know that it doesn't work, right? We've proven it doesn't work in our past experiences. Why don't we make steps that make a staircase? Why don't we take one step at a time until we have a staircase and we can easily overcome what used to be a wall, what used to be a barrier, what used to be a limitation? Steps make a staircase. One step at a time, we're going to get where we need to go. One step at a time, we're going to create what we deserve to create. One step at a time, we're going to make 2025 one of the most impressive years of your life. Steps make a staircase. And progress is the key to happiness and the glue that makes happiness stick. Shout out to the low vibrational plate lady for introducing me to that quote. One of her most iconic works ever. I don't know if she's quoting that from someone else or not, but I really love that quote. Progress is the key to happiness and the glue that makes happiness stick, because it's so true. Every day you make progress, you are a happier person. Every day you make progress, your happiness stays with you because you are progressing towards something. It's why I talk about my workout routines a lot. I feel good, I feel successful, I feel happier because I'm taking small steps towards being the kind of person that I want to be. And that person definitely prioritizes her health and her wellness and her fitness. Finally, I want you to remember that the most menacing man, human, athlete that you could ever think of, like the biggest, most scariest human being that you can't even imagine getting in a fist fight with, was once a baby who needed their mother or father to have a bottle. Does not matter how grown someone is, when they were a baby, they needed somebody. That part of you that is going to make your dreams come true might be a baby. And you need to protect and care for that baby version of yourself and baby your ambitious self into a full-grown adult. One day, that part of you is going to be so experienced and so confident that you can't connect to or remember being helpless anymore. One day it's going to be so easy for you to achieve lofty goals that you might not be able to connect to having the obstacles you used to have. But right now, while you're starting your goals, while you're starting to put energy towards them, while you're starting to make progress in your life, I want you to treat that ambitious part of you, that part of you that's taking the steps, the part of you that's doing the work, like a baby. Nurture it, feed it, teach it, love it, protect it, affirm it. We don't expect a toddler to sprint. We don't expect a toddler to pole vault. When a toddler takes tiny steps, we praise a toddler. We encourage them. We're excited for them. And because they receive that positive feedback, they keep taking more steps. We allow them to fall down and get right back up. But whenever we're setting high goals for ourselves, it's easy to become so critical. We don't expect toddlers to sprint. And we encourage them, we protect them, we love them, we nurture them, and we allow their growth process to happen. So this is a year to be gentle with yourself. This is a year to parent yourself. This is a year to support yourself. This is a year to give yourself the nourishing environments and tools and things that you need to achieve in the ways that you're meant to achieve. Thank you guys for watching this video. I have a series available for you called The Hot Girl's Guide to Standing on Business. And it's now available off of TikTok because, there is an impending TikTok non-existent situation possibly happening. My series is going to help you to define and decide what your standards are, what your values are, what your boundaries are. It's very easy to go through step by step. People have said that this is exactly what every girl needs that they don't know they need. This is exactly what every woman needs that they don't know they need. You can use it for your career. You can use it for your personal relationships. You can use it for your intimate relationship with a primary partner. You can use it in any area of life, but it's going to teach you how to set up your standards, how to set up your boundaries in a way that you feel confident and a way that you feel good about. It's going to help you to stand behind yourself. It's going to help you to reinforce your boundaries without any sense of guilt, without any sense of shame. You are going to be that person who's able to say, this is what I want, this is how it's going to be, and people are going to go with it or they will drop out of your life, and other people will come into your life that meet your standards and that respect your boundaries. It is incredible for eliminating guilt. I think that's what I'm most proud of with that particular series. It banishes the guilt around and the uncertainty. It banishes uncertainty, the doubt, and the guilt around, am I sure that this is the standard I want to set? Am I sure this is the boundary I want to set? Is this right? Am I in the wrong? All that second guessing I've experienced times in my life where for a year or a month or 8 months or whatever, long periods of time would go by where I'm just like, did I read that situation right? Did I understand this correctly? And I'm not saying you need to rush to make a judgment, but this series will give you the tools to be able to look at your life and say, okay, this works for me, this doesn't. You want to have that feeling of clarity. You want to have that feeling of confidence. You want to have your life clear-cut, organized, and have a strong foundation, because when you do that, you're going to be able to go on to do the more important things that you are destined to do in this life. You're not meant to be sitting around dealing with problems in your relationship constantly. You're meant to be supported by healthy relationships so that you can go on and take care of bigger business. That series is now available, and you get 53% off when you use the code 2025 until January 8th, and on January 8th it will go back to its regular pricing. Make sure that you grab the series while it's on sale for the new year. And my book is also available on Amazon. It's called The Hot Girl's Guide to Winning at Life. I talk about standards in dating in the book. I think my book is good for women who are dating and discovering themselves at the same time. In my book, I cover a couple of concepts like the concept of the matriarchy and making choices for yourself, choosing a partner for yourself from the position of a matriarchy as opposed to a patriarchy. I talk about beginning with the end in mind and becoming a creator. I talk about being selfish, being self-focused and self-centered, and why that's so important for a woman to do. I talk about coming back to your identity, coming back home to who you are, and how that creates so much power and so much leverage for you and can help move you forward in some of the darker moments of your life. So my book is also an incredible resource for you. My book's available on Amazon. I'll link it in the description box below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more.